I'm Stephanie Barrett. I'm a flutist, a music teacher, an adult figure skater, and a mom of 2 boys, ages 12 and 10. And I'm here with Jonathan today, who is my 12-year-old.
Hello!
Today we're going to be discussing intervals. Intervals have 2 parts. Intervals have a quantity and also a quality. We're only going to be talking about quantity today. Intervals in music are just like intervals in life. Intervals measure the distance between 2 notes. I have Jonathan here with me today, who is a level 8 pianist. Jonathan's going to be helping me explain the basic interval terminology. Before we get started, I would love to know down in the comments if there's any music theory questions you have for me. Also, please don't forget, if you haven't done it already, to subscribe.
Today it's my turn to teach you the 3 basic terms describing intervals. There are 3 basic terms to describing intervals: a step, a skip, and a leap. A step is from one line to the very next space, or from one space to the very next line. A skip is from one line to the next line, or from one space to the next space. This is a skip. And a leap is really just anything above that. So something like this.
Wider than a skip, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And something like this. Something like that or above. We quantify intervals by giving them numbers. Examples like seconds, thirds, fourths, etc.
The way that we determine the interval is by beginning with the first note as note number 1, and then counting every line and space consecutively all the way up to the second note. We always start with the lower note, even if it's the second note. So this one is going to be note number 1. The space is 2, and then the next note is 3. This interval from line 1 to line 2 is a third. Now we're going to go from line 1 to space 2. And you can see when we count all of the lines and spaces beginning with the first note that this interval is a fourth. Line 1 is 1, space 1 is 2, line 2 is 3, and space 2 is 4. The other way that you can determine the quantity for the interval is by counting the letter names. I'm linking my video to how to find the letter names for the lines and spaces of the staff right here. So, if we're in treble clef and our line 1 note is E, and we place the second note on space 2, which is an A, then we can count every letter beginning on E until we get to A. E, F, G, A. 1, 2, 3, 4. Therefore, E to A is a fourth. We have intervals in treble clef and bass clef, and we have intervals that are narrow and intervals that are wide. Our narrow intervals are those steps that Jonathan referred to earlier, and our wide intervals are leaps. So now I'm going to show you a wide interval in the bass clef. We're going to start with space 1, which is letter A. And we're going to do an interval up to line 4, which is letter F. So now we have A, all the letters between B, C, D, E, and F. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So from A to F is a sixth.
The interval of a step is very special because it can be in the form of a half step or a whole step. A half step is when you go from one piano key to the very next piano key, black keys included. Whereas a whole step is when you skip that very next key and go straight to the one after it. Half steps can be from a white key to a black key, from a black key to a white key, or even from a white key to another white key. Whereas whole steps are generally from one kind of key to the next. Generally. Here's the scoop on how whole steps work. Whole steps can go from a white key to white key or from a black key to black key, as shown here. On rare occasions, however, you can also go from a white key to a black key. Or from a black key to a white key. Because sometimes there's two white keys that make a half step, like these two.
Understanding intervals is an integral part of understanding music theory in general. They're very important, and as you can see, there are many different ways to describe them. Again, intervals are the distance between two notes. We're talking about their relationship. We can say they're steps or skips or leaps. Steps are whole steps or half steps. And we also call them seconds, thirds, fourths, fifths, etc. Usually up to about a tenth. In my video so far, I've named all of the lines and spaces of the staff, and I've showed you ledger lines and how to read above and below the staff. What we haven't covered yet is something called the accidental. Accidentals are what get us to the black keys, and that's what we're going to be talking about next week.